Want to know what makes whatever it is you're experiencing 1,000 times worse? It's your resistance to it. Resistance is an unconscious mechanism that we use to avoid, deny, or repress the experience or expression of a particular emotion. It's often rooted in just trauma and coping mechanisms. And when we continuously resist some sort of aspect of our life or our emotional experience or whatever it is, we are putting up an unnecessary struggle against life. There can be something that's challenging or already uncomfortable, let's say shame, guilt, sadness, anger, but the resistance to that thing adds an extra layer of struggle and manipulation, which makes us suffer. Resistance is the cause of the vast majority of your suffering, and it's extremely unconscious. So in this video, I want to help you to become more aware of it. I do one-to-one coaching. I help all kinds of people to overcome resistance in various forms and different areas of their lives. So I have quite a lot of experience in this subject. The first point I have here is distraction. Typically, when we have some kind of problem or emotional experience, we will try and distract ourselves from it with junk food or TV, social media, email. Basically, we want to try to escape whatever it is that we are experiencing. This happens in literally all domains of our life, like problems or like feelings, right? Especially in the realm of emotion. This is like one of the most central parts to human existence. Emotions control quite a lot of our behavior, and we are continuously trying to escape and distract ourselves from the emotions that we experience as uncomfortable. Next is repression. We want to like unconsciously forget about the existence of something, so we kind of just push it away. This usually involves burying the emotion or experience in some kind of way, and it never really goes anywhere. It kind of just stays within our unconscious mind and still plays out in ways that we aren't aware of, and it actually has severe impacts on our life. Denial is another method of resistance. We basically subconsciously or unconsciously know something exists, but our conscious mind doesn't want to acknowledge it. We're not really trying to be honest about the existence of something, so we just deny it so that we don't have to face it. Intellectualization is another one. We can rationalize things, especially emotions. We can just kind of overly rationalize situations to the point where it's just blatantly self-deceptive. This helps us to avoid our actual experience and feelings. Avoidance is another one, basically trying to like escape experiences, trying to shun them. It's like if we're kind of feeling something kind of uncomfortable and we just want to like escape immediately. And this kind of stuff happens at very subtle levels. It's usually at the level of unconscious and subconscious. We usually can pick this kind of stuff up basically through dysregulations in our nervous system, tension in our body, reactivity, kind of like unconscious movements. We actually have to get in touch with our body in order to detect a lot of the mechanics of these things. Another good one is minimization, basically downplaying the existence of, let's say, uncomfortable emotions so that you never have to actually learn what they're telling you, process them, feeling them, basically minimizing problems in your life as well. Projection is another one. Especially in relationships, we can experience something uncomfortable and then we can just attribute it to something external to us. People are a very prime example of what we project onto, but even just experiences, we can basically take our internal pain and attribute the cause of it to something that is external to us. This basically helps us to avoid self-awareness. Basically helps us to avoid actually doing any reflection on ourselves and changing. Deflection is another one. This is when we shift attention away from issues or emotions and try and put it somewhere else so that we don't really look at what is going on inside of ourselves. Substituting is another one. Let's say we feel something and we want to try and replace that emotion with something else. Basically, all of these are mechanisms that we use to escape life, and they make whatever our pain is 1,000 times more unbearable. If you crack down on the resistance mechanism within your own mind, you basically crack down on 99% of your own suffering. It's never the experience itself. It's never the emotion itself. It's never the sensation itself. It's your relationship to it. Most of your suffering is completely constructed by you absolutely unconsciously. So it's never about what you feel. It's how you are relating to what you're feeling, to what you're experiencing. All resistance is self-struggle. It's actually an unconscious attack on ourselves. And we do this in order to feel better, basically so we don't have to feel something that we don't want to feel, and we can instead move towards something that we do want. It's actually counterproductive to the goal we have. We will end up just avoiding too much of ourselves and not processing enough of ourselves. And once again, it doesn't really go anywhere at all. We have to learn how to properly relate to the entire spectrum of human emotions, from uncomfortable to the most blissful, if we want to actually really enjoy our life to the fullest. So you overcome resistance by surrendering to the present experience, surrendering to your present thoughts and watching them, surrendering to your present emotions and body sensations and feelings and watching them, surrendering to your circumstances right now and being aware of them, witnessing them through ideally a mindfulness meditation practice. It also has a lot to do with being open to whatever it is you're experiencing rather than closing down. So mindfulness meditation, let's talk about it for a second. This is probably one of the best things that you can actually do for yourself. It radically increases your self-awareness, emotional intelligence, level of consciousness, spiritual intelligence, and it's probably the best way to really begin to crack down on your own resistance. Because if you're not meditating, if you don't have some kind of daily practice to really turn inward, all of your unconscious stuff is going to be controlling your life, well, until you die. Apparently about 95% of our life is ran unconsciously, and if we do not make our unconscious mind conscious, then it's going to control us, and we will basically call that destiny. We're going to call that fate, and we're not really going to really understand what is going on. We're not really going to understand why we make the decisions that we have, why we have the situations that we have, why we feel the way we feel, why we have the overall life that we have. So meditation is a good way to be practicing surrender. It's a good way to be practicing presence. It's a good way to be practicing awareness, witnessing, rather than going unconscious and getting distracted and resisting life. Your awareness alone is curative. By actually being present and witnessing yourself, feeling into yourself, being self-aware, processing yourself, you naturally begin to heal yourself as well. Simply witnessing your resistance and surrendering your resistance and doing this over and over and over and over again in the present moment naturally heals this resistance mechanism. It's naturally a way to crack down on it. That's it for this video. I'm offering one-to-one coaching. You can book a free call. Link is in the description. Take it easy.